I've been in dogs since 1991. We breed dogs that we want to train. I was out here in western Nebraska riding Harleys and training dogs. I don't sugarcoat anything, and if you don't like it, tough.
Hello, you are listening to the Flatlander Kennels podcast with Chris Jobman. My name is Elliot. In today's episode, we've got a bunch of questions stacked up. We're going to roll through. If you want to get your questions entered in for us to talk about, go to the Flatlander Kennels Facebook group and join. And that's where you can submit questions like the ones that we're going to answer today. How's it going, Chris?
Good, Elliot. How are you, bud?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah, we got I'm going to let you tell them, but not right now. But we got some exciting news for the podcast coming up that people might want to be interested in. Not sure when it's airing. That's your job. So we'll talk about that eventually later. But let's get into these questions, and let's start banging them out.
Well, you brought that up, so I will tease it. We're not fully unleashing this yet, but we are setting up a Patreon account where you're going to have the opportunity to win a hunt trip with Chris and myself out at his place, 2026 late December time, where you can come and hunt with both of us. And then another person is going to win the opportunity to come stay and train for 3 to 5 days. We don't have all the details wrapped up. You'll also be able to come and watch these recordings live, comments, your questions will go right to the top. So we got a big offer for you, for those of you people that love this content, but we're not ready to give all of the details yet, but be thinking about it.
It's coming.
Be ready, because it's coming. It's coming real quickly. So it's going to be cool. We got a lot of cool stuff.
I couldn't help myself. I had to say something, Elliot. Sorry.
I know. We had just talked about it. I said, let's talk about this next time, but that's okay.
This is next time.
Well, next time.
When it airs.
Well, we're going to officially.
Yeah, we'll officially announce it when we get it figured out.
On the next one.
Okay.
So, but you guys are going to love it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Today's Q&A, we've got 16 questions. We'll see how many of these we can get through. Before that, let me talk to you about the partners real quick. Mike Marino at marinodecoys.com is offering hand-carved, just beautiful looking high-end decoys that you can either use as art pieces, like I've got one in my muck room that I just keep up there because it looks gorgeous, or like Chris, you can get a full dozen and actually hunt over them, all sorts of different species, gorgeous looking hand-carved decoys. Or if you have one of your dogs pass, as we all have to deal with that, they're hand-carved decoy urns that memorialize your dog. You can actually hunt over these if you want to, the way that he does these, and they're just a phenomenal product. If you want to see what I'm talking about,
the absolute Elliot, the absolute best. I've ordered 2 more dozen. I'm gonna have 3 dozen. They are phenomenal. I cannot tell you enough. I hunted down there with Chris Aiken towards the end of the season. He had them out there. They look unbelievable. He got a couple dozen. They look phenomenal. So everybody go to MikeMarinoDecoys.com and check it out.
And I'll guarantee you, when Georgie passes, I'm going to have one of his.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Every dog that I have, I'm going to have one of these Marino decoy urns. It's what a way you can actually have the name of your dog on the plate, on a stand, and it's just, you can remember that dog. If you're going to have ashes, which a lot of us do that, it doesn't really do anything to have them sitting back in a box somewhere.
No.
You want it displayed. So, other partner I'll talk about is Mammoth Guardian dog crate. If you are in need of a way to transport your dog, if you get this crate and you get the roll cage attachments, it can go in the back of your truck and you can strap it down and feel really good about traveling with your dog. Or if you take those roll cage attachments off, you can slip it into the back of your truck if it's big enough, which is what I do with Georgie. If I want to strap it down, I have the roll cage. If I just want her in the back because I've got all my waterfowl gear, then I slip it in the back of the truck without the roll cage attachment. It's just a phenomenal product, and you're not going to break the bank to purchase this item. You can go over to Amazon and just search Mammoth Guardian Dog Crate, or mammothpet.com. Guardian 15 will get you 15% off of that product. All right, we ready to go?
Let's roll.
Here we go. Question number 1. This is from TJ Thompson. I've been following the flow chart and listening to the episodes on repeat to make sure I don't miss any details. Currently on the 3rd location of pattern blinds, and it's going great. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And you can see this flow chart on the YouTube Flatland Kennels YouTube channel. There's a playlist that goes down the flow chart in order if you want to hear all of those episodes. But he's wondering if there can be more episodes presented similar to these, but focused on progressing with marking. I train with a training group at their monthly training days with another dog guy when schedules match, but most of the time I'm solo. I also use the book Building a Retriever by Carol Cassidy for marking drills.
So he wants to know if we're going to talk more about marking drills.
I think progression of specific episodes about progression of marking.
Well, I don't know. We could try to do that and do. We need to probably have an episode on like marking concepts. Not really, because obviously the progression would be simple singles and then little harder singles and then light doubles, bigger doubles, and then cheating singles, and then advanced concepts like hip pockets and flower pots, and all the indented triples and all those things. I don't necessarily understand how it's going to be really hard to explain the progression of marking. The progression of marking also combines with your progression on teaching them to handle. Because if you're trying to teach multiples, and you say you train by yourself most of the time, if you're trying to teach multiples and your dog can't handle, that's going to be very difficult. And if you're trying to teach cheating singles and your dog hasn't been taught to handle, you can't do it. So the progression of marking also coincides with your progression of your dog's ability to handle, if that makes sense. Now, I know you say you train by yourself, but boy, I would try to really get a good, true marking dog, you need somebody to hand throw it for you as well. Because when you're trying to teach them the double, if you have let's say you have a winger and one person throwing, and you tend to teach a double, you would have the guy that's throwing for you throw that mark out first. That would be your memory bird. And then your winger bird would be your go bird. You come back and you go to your memory bird. And if the dog struggles with it, that guy, you have somebody out there to help you. So it helps the confidence of that dog. And then you would build on that. One thing I see people doing too much when they start talking about marking is they try to get their dogs to go too far, too fast. So what I mean by that is everybody wants to watch your dog run 300 yards at a mark. And that's great. But if you start teaching that when they're too young, then what them dogs do is that they start running towards the gun, running at the thrower or the winger, and then pushing out to go get the bird or whatever. I like to teach these dogs when they're young, give them a spot to like throw a white bumper in open grass and gives them a target to stay away from the gun and go get. Then we start adding distance when the dog understands the relationship between where the bird is at and the gun's at, and they stay away from the gun to go get the bird. Like I said, people try to go too long, too fast, and the dog runs at the gun to rely on the gun to find the bird. So just go slow. I don't know if I answered your question exactly how you wanted me to, but marking is fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but you also got to teach the handling. They're all combined in there because you have to have a little bit of handling to do, the advanced concepts or the cheating singles or that sort of thing. Don't go too far, too fast. Work on steadiness. I don't like to hide especially when they're young. I don't hide guns. I don't try to hide my wingers or throwers when they're young. I want them more like field trial type stuff. I'll put them in white coats, and so that dog understands to look out in the field, find the gun, and go get the bird. Like I want them to look out into the field. When they're little, a mark should not surprise them. Like, ooh, there it is. Because then they don't mark the spot. They just kind of run towards the bird came out of, and they just try to find the bird. If they look out there and they see like a white coat, they find the gun, then it doesn't have to be very far, 50 yards. Find the gun when they're babies. Throw the bird. Now the dog can watch the bird fly through the air and then go to that spot where it landed. If you try to go too far, they run at the gun and they push out to the bird. So,
is there any value if you're just an amateur and you just can't find anyone to go with you? Is there any value of sitting your dog down, walking out, and throwing the mark yourself, and then sending your dog from a distance to a mark.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a great way to do it. Now, that'll only take you so far. But there is a value of, and I don't train like that way, obviously, but I know people that do, and they've had really nice dogs. There is a value to that. But I would, and the least thing you should do is, in the least, is buy some wingers and throw some birds, do those sort of things at the very least, or hire a high school kid an hour a day or somebody to throw birds. But if you can't do that, they make remote launchers that work okay. They work okay. And wingers, obviously wingers will be fine too, but it's really hard to help a dog when there's nobody out in the field to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're going to need help. That's just all there is to it. So, there is a value in that. It's just, you only can get so far like that.
Sometime we should talk also about like when to have the winger thrower help and when not to, because that, from the times I've spent out with you, it seems kind of nuanced as to when you want the person to help the dog that's struggling and when you want the dog to find it on its own. It seems like it's not just natural intuitive knowledge.
No, it's a very, and I'll be quite honest with you, Elliot, that the helping on a mark, it can be a whole podcast. It's dog dependent. And what I mean by that is, let's just say, and I think we talked that with Ray Vogt when we had him on. I don't remember, but that's a great episode if people want to go back. I don't know what episode that was, but Ray Vogt, good friend of mine, it was a phenomenal episode. But so let's just say Georgie's a baby and Georgie goes out and I'm throwing the bird and I throw the bird, but Georgie is hunting by me, right? You don't want me to help at that point because she's by me. She's looking for me to help her. So that's when you would handle the dog away from the gun out to the bird. Okay. Let's just say I threw that bird and Georgie missed it on the upwind side, on the upwind side away from me, but on the upwind side and it's hunting a little bit deep. That's when you want your gunner to help and bring that dog back into the area of the fall. Then once that dog is in the area of the fall, you quit helping.
Mm-hmm.
Don't help him to the bird. You help the dog to the area of the fall and then let the dog find the bird.
And they help just by some vocalization.
Yeah.
Hey,
up. Hey, up. And then once they start coming back, just stop. And just don't, and stand in the, so this is going to sound funny too, but dogs realize this as well. Let's just say you're throwing a mark and you're throwing it right to left. If you stand there and you look the direction you're throwing it at the bird, that dog, eventually they realize, hey, that guy is looking to the left. They're going to hunt to the left. It's the craziest thing. If you want to screw them up, look the other way. And they're like, it went that way. So there's little things that you can really help the dog mark. But the helping is a huge deal. There's some people that don't ever want you to help on a mark. There's some people that tell you to never handle on a mark, which is BS. It's all dog related. So if you have a dog that pops on a mark, like hunting for the mark and then pops, right, which means they stop, they quit hunting, they look for you for direction. You don't want to handle that dog as a handler because it's looking for you to help. That's when you get the bird boy go, hey, to get the dog hunting again. If the dog sucks to the gun, you don't want the gun to help the dog because that's where the dog wants to be is by you. So that's when so it's all very dog dependent and what the dog is doing.
Right.
And we talked about this too with Ray. Everybody talks about the outside in hunter. They all want the outside in instead of the inside out. That's beat. Just don't blow your dog up trying to make him outside in marking dog because a lot of those dogs are born. That Jet dog that I had was so phenomenal. He was an outside in marker, and a lot of his puppies are. Who cares if the dog when they get older, right? Not when they're babies. When they get older, it's really hard to teach a dog to stay away from the gun when they've realized, hey, I'll just go to the gun and find the bird. That they'll do that when they get older. And I'm going to tell you, win a lot of field trials doing that. Who cares? So every dog has their own hunting style. You've got to figure that out, what it is, and then you have to tweak it and really nurture the style, how they hunt. Don't kill their style because here's the thing, guys. When you're marking, when that dog leaves your side and you send that dog, Georgie, from the second that dog is running leaves your side and runs to the bird, It is gathering information the entire time to the bird. Wind, the way the gunner is standing, if the gunner steps out, if the wind's blowing right, they're gathering information the entire way with their eyes and their nose to find that bird. So if you're throwing your mark right to left, and that dog is running at the bird, like running a really good line to the bird, but then starts sucking over to the gun. Have that gunner take a couple steps out, fake a throw, and on that dog is like, oh, that's information. He wants me to go more left, and then that dog will push him out. So that dog is gathering information the entire time it's running. So, and people need to understand that. They can't just say, it's not just from point A to point B. It's from point A to point B and everything in between. Cover, terrain, wind, sun, all of it. They're gathering information to help them accomplish their task.
All right, next question. John Booker. Elliot and Chris, I have an 18-month-old black lab male. Zeke is my first dog. He has a couple of season passes and will be moving to finished level test February 2026. I'm having an issue with bugging when there is multiple gun stations. He is so high drive. He starts head turning after duck noise from a winger, causing him to miss seeing the birds. Obviously, the problem is worse when throwing multiple marks tight. He sees a holding blind and knows exactly what it is about to happen. I've been trying to slow everything down in order to calm him down at the line. His line manners are pretty good, getting better every day. He is just extremely eager to retrieve. Thanks for your time.
So that's not bugging. That's called head swinging. Bugging.
What's bugging?
Bugging is when you line the dog up for like a blind retrieve, and it does a Stevie Wonder. It looks left, looks right, looks left, looks right. That's bugging, and that's an avoidance behavior because they know the longer that they bug, they don't have to run the blind retrieve. They're avoiding the work. Head swinging is when they're just so wound up. Now, one thing that concerned me about his statement there, his question, he said he's getting ready to run finished and coming up this month. And he said his line manners are pretty good. Well, if you have a dog that's so wound up that it's head swinging to all the different marks and your line manners are pretty good, you may want to revisit your control you have on the dog. Because you get that dog into a test, and if your line manners aren't, this dog line manner needs to be immaculate in training. Immaculate. Because when you get to the test, he's going to be about 50% under control. So if you start at 50%, you're going to be nothing when the test starts. So that concerns me. That dog that's super high drive like that, line manners better be a premium. That's got to be of the utmost importance at this time. Now, with that being said, let's just say the line manners are good. And the dog head swings in between marks. He needs to run more singles off of multiple guns. And what I mean by that is set up four, like an ABCD drill. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But you set up like an ABCD drill, which is singles off of multiple guns. And we use white coats when we do that, and we have hand throwers. And we set up a short gun, but we throw the long gun first. So all that is teaches them where to go to where your eyes are telling you to go. Don't go to where your nose is telling you to go, and don't go where your impulsiveness wants you to go. So they need to look past holding blinds for a mark. Look past this holding blind to a mark. Have somebody standing up in a holding blind, and then, at the middle of a clock, but have somebody at 9 o'clock throwing a mark left to right, where they have to look past the short gun to the long gun. That you have to run singles off of multiple guns. Then do that a lot. And then on your multiples, if the dog head swings, say the first mark comes out at 9 o'clock and they head swing to 12 o'clock instantly, whatever you do, don't send the dog on 12 o'clock. Make him sit back down really, really good. Focus on that mark on the left and send him on the left one. He doesn't get to go wherever hell he feels like. So if he head swings off of it, make him go get that mark he head swung off of. Keep him guessing a little bit. Because what happens if you've got a dog that's this high drive, I'm worried you're going to lose him because he's only season level and he's doing this, and you'll probably be running too many multiples. So singles off of multiple guns develops a control on the dog, getting more under control.
Okay. That was good. Brian Cooper asks, I would like to hear more about what standards the judges are looking for in HRC tests. I have my first retriever and got his SHR this month. I'm planning on running seasoned in the spring, and we're working hard. It's easy to see what the test consists of: 2 marks, diversion, walk up, blind, but it's hard for a newbie to know what they are really looking for. If my dog drops a bird or if he cheats the water, has a couple of cast refusals, I can't really find information like that.
Every judge is different on what they look for, but the dog must deliver to hand. So if your dog brings the bird in and drops it at your feet and you pick it up off the ground, you failed. The dog, this has not started. The dog has to deliver the bird to hand. Seasoned, you can kind of get away with some cast refusals. Now, most of the time in season, I think it's a 60-yard blind. Most of the time in season, if the blind's at 12 o'clock and your dog's way over at 3 o'clock and you give them a big over and they smell the bird and they run over to it, that's not going to work. You've got to challenge the line to the blind. So you've got to challenge it. 1 or 2 cast refusals technically usually doesn't fail you, but every judge is different. Cheating the water, you're not going to fail for cheating the water unless it's a water blind. If it's a water blind and you don't get in the water, you're not going to pass. If the judges set up a really nasty cheating mark in season, shame on them. They shouldn't do that. It's seasoned. And if your dog runs around the water, in my opinion, and I've ran a lot of hunt tests, this is my 26th year of doing this, that's not going to fail you either. Because that's just the dog knew where the bird was at, went out and got it. But typically season tests aren't super cheaty anyway. Gun handling is paramount. You got to be safe with the gun. There's a lot of people it's a big jump from start to season, and gun handling is at a premium. And you got to be safe with the gun. You got to put it on safety. You got to shuck it. There's a lot of moving parts in season. A lot of moving parts. It's a big jump. So just take your time. And if you got a good club in your area, go talk to some of them guys too, and they can probably help you out.
I find sometimes from my experiences that those judges are pretty forgiving on a lot of
most of the time season judges are very, very helpful. And a good season judge should be very, very helpful. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Marsteller would probably agree with me on this one because he's our judging expert of Flatlander Kennels. But season is very difficult to judge because there's a lot. Those dogs are learning. They're young. The handlers are typically young and they're not experienced. And you got to walk from, there's a walk up and there's a diversion and then there's a multiple and there's a water blind. There's a lot of moving parts in season. And it's a very difficult thing to judge. And a good season judge understands that. And they understand, dogs are young and they do stupid things and handlers get nervous. And there's a little bit of leeway in season, but you still got to do the work. But a good season judge understands that and takes that into consideration.
And it's way more fun than started. That's when the fun starts.
Yeah, that's when
those HRC events. Yeah. I really enjoyed the HRC events with the community and the judges and the people there. I really enjoyed them. So
and my hat's off to the seasoned judges because that's hard. That's a hard stake to judge. It really is.
Next question, Adam Harper. His dog is nearly 3, has HRCH. In a test situation, say you have a bird, whether long or short, that the dog didn't get a good look at or didn't see it at all. Drills or advice on go as scent and holding that line until they smell mallet. I mean, you've talked about this a lot.
We have beat this drum for years now, and it's. I wish I could tell you there's a secret way to teaching it. There's really not. I mean, obviously your dog should be able to run a good blind retrieve. That sort of thing. Just treat it as a blind and, get the bird back, put the dog on the downwind side, that sort of thing. Now, when they get older, the dogs that are more of team players and you can talk them into a spot and a location and a line, those dogs are going to be more apt to be more team player. They're going to pick it up. The dogs that are like, hold my beer, I got this. Those dogs are going to be hard to do because they don't care they just want to run. Now, if you've got to develop that communication with your dog. And in training, we do this all the time in our grand training group. If the dog doesn't see a mark, now depending on the dog, if a dog is struggling with his marking, obviously we got to see the dog. But if you got a really good dog and they don't see the mark, man, it ain't a big deal in training. You're just like, okay, hang on. Where's that murder? And you just talk them into a spot and you kick them off. And then you start doing it. And then they start developing the habit of, they start trusting you more and more and more and more. So when you got, where's that mark at? They're like, ooh, I didn't see it, but I know it's something out. He says there's something out there. Where's that bird? Where's that mark? Oh, there it is. There it is. Good, right there. Flash, and then off they go. They're just running that way because I told them to, and they're excited about going that way because they know there's a bird out there somewhere. And if you can get them on that line, dogs will back trail to a bird. And I don't know if anybody knows this. They'll back trail other dogs. They will back trail the drag back. They will back trail all the way to the bird. So some of these dogs are really intelligent, and a lot of these dogs are like this. Some of these dogs are like a low intensity dog, a low desire dog. Not all of them, but they are so smart that if you can get them in that back trail of all the other dogs and the birds, they will run that line all the way to the damn bird. I've seen them do it 1,000 times. And because they know they're not the most talented marking dog in the world, so they're using their other talents that they have, their nose and their trainability and their teamwork. They're like, okay, I don't know where it's at. I'm not that great of a marking dog, but I know what this means. I'm in that drag back. I'm going to get it. They do their other senses. They learn how to do other senses. Years ago, I had a dog named Dozer who was 4-time grand champion. He was a phenomenal animal. He was one of my best SRS competitors I ever had. He couldn't see the longbird, Elliot, to save his life. If it was past 250, he was done. He could not see the longbird to save his life. But Dozer's, one of his best talents was we were such a good team that I could talk him into a line. Elliot, I talk him into a line, and I could send him, and he will run from here to your house. And he'd be like, there it is. Bam, he'll pick it up. I can't tell you how many times I did that because he knew he couldn't see out there. But we developed that trust as a team that he's like, the boss says there's something out there, I'm going to go that way.
Right.
And it worked out great. So these dogs learn that with time, with lots of time. And if you're training with a thrower or even a winger, and let's just say that you come back and they don't see the mark, you can have somebody step out and go, hey. And that's where you go, where's that mark? And then have the guy step back in the holding blind and then kick him off. Then that develops that communication of like, where's that bird? And they know, oh, it's out there, So they go out and get it. We've talked about it in depth 1,000 times. And there's some dogs are really good at it, some dogs aren't.
Next question came without a name attached. 2.5-year-old HR titled Black Lab male. He was professionally trained. I'm having issues with communicating with the dog on blinds. I'll send him on dead bird back. He will leave, but at 5 feet, he will spin and then keep running on course to the initial line. Is this lack of confidence in him as the new handler? Should he no hear and resend if the dog is spinning? What drills you recommend to get the dog over this?
So first and foremost, ask your trainer. Whoever trained that dog, ask him. He knows the dog better than anybody else. Okay, that's called a pressure spin. And what that is, it's a combination of things. And when I say pressure spin, it can be from too much collar pressure at the wrong time. It can be from lack of confidence with a lack of understanding what the dog wants, and pressure was put on the dog when it wasn't understanding what was asked of him. I'm not saying that happened to that dog. I'm just saying that in general, this is some of the problems. Other times, it's a dog that just doesn't want to do it. He's just kind of hard-headed and stubborn. Other times, it's mental stress. When a pressure spin, I'm not talking about physical pressure. Pressure spins are usually mental stress. So maybe this guy has no-heard the dog a bunch, or that sort of thing. Now the dog's confused, but there's no certain set way to fix this. I had a dog years ago named Suede, and I think we've talked about this before a long time ago. We had a dog named Suede. She's a female Chesapeake. And I had this problem with her, and it wasn't from any kind of e-collar pressure. It wasn't from anything. It was mental stress of she's starting to get to be a big dog now, HRCH, Master Hunter. She had to take the correct line because she was relatively stubborn, like a lot of Chesapeakes are. And she had to take the correct line, the initial line, right? Well, she wanted to go, let's just say I wanted to go at 12 o'clock. She'd be like, no, I'm going to 2 o'clock. I'm like, no, here, get back here. You're going at 12 o'clock. No, she would go at 10 o'clock. She's just one of those dogs. So she started that pressure spinning crap because she didn't want to go that way. She wanted to go her own way. And I tried to go back. I tried the pressure, not the pressure part. So I went back and to pattern blinds. And I said, well, we're going to fix this. Well, she was so smart, pattern blinds didn't help because she knew where they were at. She just ran right to them. Not a big deal. No big, it wasn't fixing. I thought it was being fixed. We went out and ran cold blind and she started that crap. So I called her owner and I said, hey, Kirby, I said, Suede's pressure spinning on me. I've tried everything I can. I said, the only other thing I know what to do is add a bunch of collar pressure to her and force her. I said, he's like, well, do what you think needs to happen. I said, I'm going to warn you, this could ruin her from progressing. She's done, or this will fix it. One of the two. He's like, do what you think is right. I said, all right. So I tried the no pressure, part of it first. That didn't work. So what I did then, when she pressure spun, I started forcing her hard on a blind. If she pressure spun, I'd recall her. I'd heel her up, nick with some pressure on the collar, and I'd kick her off again. I almost treated it like a no-go, right? And then it just took a month or two, and she got better and better and better. That fixed it. She ended up being a Grand Hunter Retriever champion, master hunter, 500-point HRC dog. And back in those days, there was less than 5 of those. She's a female Chesapeake. There's less than 5 of those in the whole wide world. So that fixed it. Now, I'm not telling you to do that with your dog. I'm telling you that's what fixed her. You've got to figure out why this dog is pressure spinning. That's the first question. Why? Is it lack of effort? Is it lack of confidence? Is it confusion? Why is she doing it? And then address it. You've got to figure that out first. But talk to your trainer that did it. Talk to your trainer. It could be just you have a different sequence and voice and mannerisms than your trainer, and he probably doesn't do it for your trainer. He might just do it for you. So figure out, talk to your trainer. You may have to go back to pattern blinds and develop that relationship and that communication. And that might fix it. It might be the easiest thing ever to fix in the world. So I don't know. I think in the comments, I read this on the page. I think in the comments, they said they got through that. But I don't know what he did. And I know everybody on there said, well, what's Chris going to do? I don't know. There's no certain way to fix that. It's whatever fixes it.
Next question, Dan Jurgens. Do you feed your dogs once or twice a day? And is it the same time every day? What about when the dog is testing or will be traveling long distance? And I'm going to add one into this. Do you give your dog more food on days that they hunt and have burned a lot of energy?
Okay. Typically, we feed all of our dogs once a day. Dogs run really well once a day. They get fed when they're done training, whatever time that is. Now, if there's dogs that have a hard time keeping weight on, that are really busy in their kennel, they get fed twice a day. They get fed when they get loaded on the trailer, then they get fed at night. It all depends on the dog. When they're hunting, and like say Flash or Vader, they've all hunted or whatever, Clutch and Red, and they've had a hard day and it's been cold, I'll give them a little bit more food at the night for sure, for calories. Or they're, upland dogs, especially, they lose a lot. They burn a ton of energy, so they'll need a little bit more calories. But I typically, and you got to be careful. I don't feed them either right before they run. Like when I say we feed them twice a day, we'll load them on the trailer, like say 7 o'clock in the morning, then they'll get fed their 1 or 2 cups or whatever it is for the morning food, but they may not run until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So I don't run them right away. I don't want them to flip their stomach. So, but I'm typically a once a day food guy, once a day.
Do you see a problem with twice a day?
I don't see a problem with twice a day, except for a house dog. A house dog, and then now there is some studies too on this, Elliot. There was some, like the sled dog guys. There are some studies on this where feeding twice a day is honest, and I don't know. I think Mike Lardy was talking about it one time. I can't remember, but there's some studies on if they feed once a day, it's actually better for the dog. They burn, and I don't know how it all works, but they burn their energy in their muscles or something. I can't remember how but it's better for the dog to be once a day. I think a lot of those sled dogs do that. But
because I don't have a reason, but we always feed Georgia right when she wakes up, and then
why is that?
12:30.
Why is that? Because she wants it?
No, because you guys were feeding them twice a day as puppies.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that and just never stopped. All my other dogs I had done once a day, but that was routine. I started and just never stopped.
So what we found out in our crazy house of animals is how Eileen has stopped this with her corgis. This is the greatest thing ever. So let's just say we get up at 7:00 and we go feed the dogs. We feed the dogs. Well, at 7:00 they want fed, and then in a month they want fed at 6:30. Then the next month they want fed at 6. The next thing you know, it's 5:30. The next thing you know, it's 5:00. The little bastards are barking. Then it's 4:30, and it just never stops. It never stops because all they want is their food. And I'm not just saying corgis, but we completely stopped feeding the corgis in the morning and all the other dogs, and we don't have that 5:30. I want to eat. I want to eat. It quit. It quit. So that's what they do. They're smart. They know. They know.
In the morning. She does none of that in the morning. Like whenever she wakes up, she'll sleep. But it used to be 1:00 feeding, and now she starts baking around 12:15, 12:30. So she starts pushing it and begging for that midday feeding time.
For sure. Pearl, the old retired Pearl dog, one of the greatest ones we ever touched. It's 2:00, Elliot. We don't feed till like 5. It's 2:00. She's like, let's go. And she starts pacing. I'm like, relax. And then she can't control herself. And then she's drooling. I'm like, just stop. I mean, they push the envelope for sure.
Georgie's such a chill house dog like Flash that her begging is kind of looking at you a little bit. Like, go lay down. She'll go lay down. She's not a bitch about it. But.
Flash is he's such a baby. Like if he's thirsty or if he's hungry, he'll walk up to you on the couch and go like this. He'll go.
Yeah.
Like right in your face. I'm like, get away from me.
That's exactly how Georgie
just get away. He's like, what are we doing? I'm thirsty. The other morning, he woke us up the other morning. He was thirsty, and he'll come over and stand on next time. He knows I won't get up, but he'll go over to Eileen's side. He'll be like, just like 2:00 in the morning, staring at you, like somebody's looking at you, and he's like, I'm thirsty, and it's like it's such a
God. All right, next one, Greg Dublin. Does anyone do clicker training with the young dog when introducing hold or fetch training? I have seen a couple of videos of people. Now that's what they do with hold conditioning at like Cornerstone. It's clicker.
Yeah. I'm not a clicker trainer, and I've never done clicker training when it comes to the hold part of it. I don't, and I'm not good at it. I don't do it, and I don't see the need for it. I mean, I've been doing this for 26 years. And that's insane to even say. And I force fetch, I don't know how many dogs, thousands, but it's never been an issue, honestly. Now, is it a bad thing? I don't know. I doubt it. Is it a good thing? I don't know. It might be. I just don't know. Now give them that's like a treat, right? Clicker like treat. Now, during the force fetch stage, I have no problem giving them a treat or something. Good boy, give them a treat. That just helps them want to learn. It feeds off of their food drive and their desire. And I have no problem with that until they get older. Then I quit. But the clicker I've never done, so I can't even comment.
All right, next question. Jared Hoffman. Tom Brady cloned his dog. Would you clone Flash?
No. And the reason for that is they're not the same animal. They're not. I don't care. They're the same dog genetically, but there's only one. There's only one Jet. There's only one Breaker. There's only one Flash. There's only one Georgie. And they're not going to be the same dog. You can't clone Mike Tyson and be two Mike Tysons because it's environmental. It's how they were raised. It's all their whole life experiences make Georgie. Their life experiences make Flash and Jet, whoever. And if you miss those life experiences when they're younger, they're not the same dog. But they are, but they are. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. If you're expecting to just have a continuation of that dog,
it doesn't work that way.
To get it. You'd still have a phenomenal canvas to work with, but it would not be the same.
It's not. And I'll be quite honest with you. There's only one Breaker. There's only one Jet. There's only one Flash. I mean, I've had lots of. I've been very fortunate. I have lots of. There's only one of these, and once they're done, they're legends and they're phenomenal. But it's time for the next one. There's only one. There's only one.
And there's something cool there's something almost that diminishes the dog to do that, because there's something cool about the legend of those dogs.
Correct. And it's like my wife keeps wanting to clone me because I'm such a phenomenal husband, but I won't let her. I'm like, no, there's only one me. And she's like, oh, she's like, I want more. I think she's leaving the house right now. I think she's walking out of the house.
Oh, there was a massive eye roll and a side eye.
She's literally laughing. She's leaving the house right now. See, if there was two of me, one of me could go with you. She's gone. She left.
All right. Next up, William J. Paternoster II. Everyone states the Water Dog, the book, is outdated, but no one ever goes into what's outdated about it. I know the DVD goes over force fetch, but doesn't touch on collar conditioning. Are these two items why it's considered outdated?
Well, I've read that book, and it's been 30 years ago since I read it. I will tell you, I see this on that Facebook page. I see this all over the internet. It drives me crazy. It's outdated, and the reasons for it's outdated, it touches on force fetch, right? It's not a good force fetch program. It doesn't even talk about collar conditioning, which in the modern day of retriever training, we call it force programs, which is not a great term for it, but there's, water force, there's force to pile, there's, cheating singles. There's all these things we teach our dogs to do, and that book doesn't touch on any of that. None of it. So unless you're a shoestring trainer that's going to run out there to your dog all the time and not use an e-collar, there's so many better material out there that book is. Now, back in the day, it was a good book, but things have changed. Like things have changed, and it doesn't touch on what these dogs can do. I think if that's the only book you're going to use, I think you're doing a disservice to your dog, because there's so many better things out there to teach a dog. And I remember, I think that's the book that has, you got to pick your dog at 49 days. That's a bunch of BS. There is not one. That was his idea. That was Walter's idea, 49 days. And for however long this book's been out, I still get puppy buyers. I don't want to pick them up in 49 days. It doesn't freaking matter. It doesn't matter. It's actually illegal to pick them up any earlier than 8 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yes. There's in Nebraska, Colorado, you have to be 8 weeks before they go home. Because if not, they would be sending puppies home at 6 weeks old, which is too young. There's no set perfect day, perfect number. And that's where that came from in that book. So it's outdated. Can you train a dog off of it? Yes. Can you train a common dog off of it? Yes. Can you train a elite, fantastic, next level dog? No. But if all you want is a gun dog, it'll work just fine. If you want the next level of a dog, you can't get it with that book. And that book and those techniques do not mesh with the newer force programs of the world, the Rex Cars of the world. Rex Carr was the father of all this. That book does not mesh. They don't mesh at all. So you have to pick one or the two.
Well, we got through a bunch. We got through a bunch of questions. Let's go ahead and end on that. Great job at answering those. Thank you for the question submissions, and we appreciate your guys' support. Spread the word about this podcast as you guys are at Hunt Test, and let everyone know that this is a great source of just bettering your knowledge of how to handle your dog.
Absolutely. We're going to have some really good guests this year, this summer, this spring. We're going to do a lot of cool things. Stay tuned for it. So it's going to be fun.
All right. Well, let's close this down.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. See everybody at the line. Take dead aim.